Hi everyone, welcome to the second YouTube session of mine. My name is Sonia Luthra and I'm one of the IELTS educator on Unacademy platform. So today in this particular video, first of all, before I start, I would just quickly like to test my sound and video quality. Can you please hear me? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, so yes, first of all, let's crack it with Unacademy. This is one of an initiation from Unacademy wherein we all the top educators from Unacademy are teaching you absolutely free for a lot of other examinations including IELTS, and if you are not the part of Unacademy, you can definitely go ahead and get the subscription with the help of my referral code, which is SONIA10. And today's class is all about your speaking module. So before we start with the actual content of the video, I would like to give a brief about what the speaking test is all about in IELTS test. So in IELTS speaking module, you have the first part, which is introduction and general questions. If I talk about the timing for the speaking module is 10 to 14 minutes, in which you will be on one-on-one with your examiner in a room and with a recorder. Okay, there would be no third person allowed. So the first part of your speaking module is introduction and general questions, in which your examiner is going to ask you very basic questions like what is your full name and where are you from? What do you do? Are you working or studying? Followed by the second part, which is usually known as cue card. However, the technical name of the test is long turn, wherein a topic would be provided to you and you will be given a 1 minute time to prepare for that particular topic, and you'll have to speak on this particular topic for 2 minutes. Okay, followed by some follow-up questions, which means analytical discussion. There would be an analytical discussion on the topic which has been given to you as a cue card. That was all about your speaking module, and speaking module lasts for 10 to 14 minutes. So I would here like to talk about a recent cue card question which came in the examiner. I took exam on 23rd of November. This particular question was the one which was asked by me from my examiner. So the question says, talk about a thing you recently borrowed from one of your friends. The cues are what it was, why did you borrow it, how did it help you, how did you feel about it. So this is exactly a cue card look like, wherein you have to prepare on this particular topic for 1 minute and you will be speaking on 2 minutes. So while speaking, I would like to tell you what all are the things you need to take care of. First, all the cues, which means all the sub questions which are provided to you, you have to cover them within 1 minute to 10 seconds. So I would personally suggest you that you have 2 minutes. However, examiner would definitely go ahead and stop you in between, right? So try to cover all the sub questions or the cues which has been given to you in 1 minute 10 seconds maximum, so that even if your examiner stops you, you have covered the important part of your questions before the examiner stops you. Correct? Secondly, the most important thing is, do not show that your answer is crammed. Even if you have crammed certain lines or maybe you have crammed certain idioms, but do not show that you have actually learned them. Be so fluent that it should look like that it's coming naturally from you. Okay, so if you don't know about the topic, then definitely see, there are two things. One, you are familiar with the topic, and secondly, you are not familiar with the topic. But if I particularly talk about this cue card, wherein you have borrowed something from your friends, everyone is familiar with this topic, because once in a life we have borrowed one or any other thing from one of our friends, right? Usually, especially the people who are studying or preparing for any of the competitive exams, we like to borrow books from each other. We borrow a lot of books from each other, and you can simply talk about it, right? If you cannot think of any other thing which you have borrowed from one of your friends, you can talk about a book that you might have borrowed. And similar thing I have talked about in my recent exam, okay? Usually friends borrow clothing items, they borrow their vehicles and a lot of other things. So you can talk about any of the things that you recently have borrowed. However, just make sure that whatever the story you are telling your examiner is interesting, okay, and you know all the facts about it. Do not start to cook a story when you are actually speaking. You have given 1 minute to prepare the topic, right? So utilize that 1 minute properly. Utilize that 1 minute to the core. If you can't remember certain things like name of your friend, what did you borrow? Why did you borrow? How did you feel after it? Just start making small ideas, or you can say points for yourself. You will be given a paper and a pen or a pencil to make your notes, okay? So utilize that 1 minute to the fullest and try to make some notes for yourself which you can look at while speaking. Because the most important thing while attending the long turn, or you can say cue card, is that you have to be fluent enough. It could be a possibility that your examiner will not stop you until 2 minutes or more than 2 minutes. Okay, so please make sure that you are fluent enough. So the question says what it was. So firstly, decide which is the thing that you have borrowed, and you can talk about it for so long. Supposedly, if you have borrowed a bike from one of your friends, so you can tell that of lately I have been borrowing a lot of stuff from my friends. As you all are already aware of the fact that speaking is informal, so you can use the word stuff, right? So you can start your answer by saying that of lately I have been borrowing a lot of stuff from my friends. However, I would like to talk about one such thing which I have recently borrowed from one of my friends named XYZ. I had to go for a date. With my girlfriends, and at the last moment my bike actually got punctured, right? So you have to make your story so interesting that your examiner should listen and laugh on your story. Okay, so try to make your examiner laugh. Try to make your examiner listen to you carefully. That's the only way to grab, or you can say fetch, good bands in your speaking. If you think that you have learned something and you're just go ahead, sit in front of examiner and vomit out whatever you have learned in past 1 week, it is not going to help you in fetching good bands in speaking module. You have to be natural, you have to be fluent, and you have to be sure of what you are speaking. Even if you are not sure about what you are talking, you have to be non-stop. Just be non-stop, just be fluent enough, That's all. And you will definitely get good bands in your speaking module of IELTS. IELTS exam is not something like your university exams. It's just like a basic interview or a basic communication which you do on daily basis with your friends. Okay. So yes, you can start your answer by saying that of lately I have been borrowing a lot of stuff from my friends, and here I would like to talk about one such thing which I have recently borrowed. So I had a date with one of my, like, not one of my girlfriends, of course. I had a date with my girlfriend, and at the last moment my bike got punctured. So I didn't want to spoil my date because it's very difficult for my girlfriend to take out some time because she lives with her family, and it's not quite possible for her to usually come out. So that's why I didn't want to spoil it, and I had to ask for a vehicle from one of my good friends for that particular day. Okay, so herein you have already answered one of your topics, which is what it was and why did you borrow it. You have basically covered two of your questions. You have already covered your two cue cards. Okay, now coming to the third part, how did it help you? Definitely it helped me because we have already given the reason for this question as well to the examiner, that how did it help you? Definitely it helped me because it would have taken 1 hour minimum to get my bike fixed. Correct? So it saved my time. It actually saved my time, and I could spend more time with my girlfriend. How did you feel about it? Of course, I felt good because here you have a chance to add an idiom. You can say, friend in need is friend indeed. Of course, being like we are friends since childhood, and I expected him to help me, and he did. So I felt very good about his helping me at the last moment. Okay, so here in this particular part you have answered actually all of your questions, right? Now this was all about your long turn. I would basically like to tell you that there is one way. Most of the people think that how exactly we are going to give the length in this cue card. We have to speak for 2 minutes, and they feel conscious about speaking continuously for 2 minutes, right? So to give length to the question, we will be following one trick which is called as Oreo trick. O-R-E-O. O means your opinion. You have to give your opinion, not in this particular question, because in this particular question your opinion has not been asked. Okay, in most of the question your opinion will be asked. So start your cue card with giving your opinion. After that, R. R means, what do you mean by R? O-R-E-O. R means you have to response. Okay. E means example. Again, O is oppose. So basically O means opinion. R means give your reasons. Reasons means justify. Why do you have this opinion? And then E again, which means justify your reasons with example. Back up your reasoning with your examples. And at the end, oppose your particular opinion. For example, the question says that many people are using mobile phones nowadays. Okay, so in this particular way, in this particular question, if you follow Oreo, you can simply say that My opinion is that most of the people should not use, using mobile phones is good because it helps us keeping ourselves abreast with ever changing world. Now, I'm giving a reason why mobiles are good, because it helps us. Mobile are good. Usage of mobile is good. However, why it is good? Because it helps us keeping ourselves updated with the new technology, or you can say ever changing world. Now I'm giving the examples. See, with the help of technology, or you can say laptops or mobiles, it's not only teachers but also the students who can make their plans or lessons effectively. Okay. Now opposition, if I want to say in something in opposition, I can say that what I can say that is, people should use mobile phones, but up to a certain limit. People should not use excessive of mobiles because it will lead to an array of issues, health issues. Okay, so that's the way you have to actually follow the Oreo method. Now, that was all about your cue card. However, there are certain analytical questions to this particular cue card as well, which you may call follow-up questions. So the first follow-up question to this particular cue card was, what exactly people nowadays borrow from each other? So the answer could be, because I am a student and you are also a student, right? So you can say, being a student, most of us borrow books from each other, because now I'm giving the reason why. Every here and then, whenever you get a chance to justify your answers, you get a chance to back up your answers with reasons, please grab this chance, because if you are not going to justify your answer, then your examiner is definitely going to ask you why. And if your examiner is asking you again why and why, it means that you're not giving length to your examiner, which is a negative point. So try to give length. And how exactly you're going to add length? By giving the reasons. Okay, so the question was, what do you think nowadays people borrow from each other? I said, as a student, what I think is, most of the students borrow books from each other because we cannot afford to have books from every single writer. So, especially someone who is preparing for competitive exams, what we can do is, I bought a certain book from a writer and my friend can certainly buy another writer's book, and once we are done with our books, we can exchange it. Like, we can borrow one another's book. Correct? So I have justified it. I have backed it up with a reason. Now, the next question could be, do you think that neighbors actually borrow some strange things from each other? Your answer should be certainly. They borrow certainly means yes. Certainly they borrow strange things from each other, like sugar, curd, and sometimes they also borrow your vehicles. Is that correct? They do borrow, right? So you can certainly say that certainly they borrow weird things like curd, sugar, or maybe they sometimes come and ask for our vehicles as well. Next question could be, why do you think that they borrow these things instead of buying them? You can answer that. You can say that, see, these are situational things. Whenever they run out of these things at weird time, for example, it's 9:30 in night and my kid has requested or asked or demanded for a certain dish and I ran out of the onions. Okay, so I would not go to market at 9:30 in the night to buy onions. I would certainly prefer to buy. I would certainly prefer to, go to my neighbor and ask for it, and I'll probably return it tomorrow. So you can definitely tell your examiner that these are the situational things which can happen with anybody at any given point of time, right? So your examiner will be happy that yes, you have answered all of your questions. Cool? Next question could be, do you think this particular borrowing is more of giving, not borrowing? So you can certainly answer that by saying, as I already told you, these are some situational issues which can happen with anybody. Today, my neighbor came to me and asked for something. Tomorrow, it could be a possibility that I am in the same situation and I would probably go to my neighbor and ask for something from them. So it's more of a mutual bond rather than giving something to someone. Okay? I hope you can understand how exactly you have to tackle these kind of questions. So the next question could be, do you think these type of borrowing can actually cause problems? Definitely. Your answer should be definitely. It can cause disputes in the terms of borrowing or lending money. Then you can add on to it by saying that money is the cause of 99% disputes in all over the world. Now you have given a fact which actually backed up your answer. Okay, that was all about the borrowing things from each other. Now the next question could be related to borrowing some ideas. Like nowadays, what is happening? Most of the companies do borrow ideas from each other, or you can, in a other language, you can say that they share some ideas, right? They share some ideas. So certainly you can say that yes, there are many companies who are sharing ideas. However, I personally think that this should not be done without the company's consent. If XYZ company has borrowed an idea from any other company, so the company's consent should be there. Okay? Consent means permission. You can borrow ideas from each other, however, with permission, not without permission. So the next question your examiner could ask you is, do you think this is a punishable offense? You would say, yeah, it could be a punishable offense if the company has not taken permission from the company wherein the idea has originated initially. Okay? So this was all about your analytical question. This was all about your analytical question. The examiner could ask you certain questions which are related to this topic only. For example, they can certainly ask you about, we have already talked about the ideas shared by companies. They can talk about digital, or you can say social media. Nowadays, what is happening? There are a lot of YouTubers, you can say, or a lot of content writers which actually try to copy music or a part of video or some content from one website to make their content effective, right? So your examiner can certainly ask you about these type of questions as well, wherein they'll ask you, do you think it is good to copy music from someone else's music video? So you can answer, you can definitely talk about YouTube, you can definitely tell them about the fact that copying somebody else's, or you can say copyrighted content, is a punishable offense, and it is in digital world it is called as plagiarized. So you will certainly be punished if you do certain kind of things. So that's all about your analytical discussion. I hope you have a fair idea about how exactly to attempt a Q card and how you need to go ahead and attend your analytical discussion or follow-up questions. Okay. So I would like to tell you here that as I already informed you that I am one of the trainers or educators on Unacademy platform. So I would just like to give you a brief about Unacademy platform also. So Unacademy is one of the online platforms wherein you can prepare, or you can start your preparation for competitive exams like IELTS, UPSC or some other exams. This particular platform is very good for anyone who is working, or a housewife or a student, because you do not have a time constraint. Okay, you do not have any time constraint. It is very convenient because you just have to open your laptop or your mobile, plug in your earphones and start studying. Price is also reasonable, and to make this particular price more reasonable for you, I have this particular code for you, which is SONIA10, and you can certainly avail 10% off by using this referral code. I, along with several other educators, you can say several other top educators along with me, are present on Unacademy platform to help you with your queries and to help you score your required bands in IELTS. So I would suggest you, if you are one of the housewives or working person or a student who thinks that I do not have time to go out for coaching and I still have to get my required bands, this is the platform for you. Trust me, this is the platform for you. Okay. So after getting subscription, you can binge watch any of the educators' video multiple times. Like, there is no constraint of watching a single video. It's just like Netflix. You can watch the video as many as times you want to watch it. Okay. So I will surely see you soon in my next YouTube session. Till then, bye bye, sayonara, good night. And I would like to say thank you to you, or if you have any queries, you can definitely ask me. Bye bye, good night.